if you're ready, let's get into MCU town. We're going to do a movie today. Next in our MCU rewatch, we are watching the MCU movies in order, keep it in release order, of course, using the hashtag MCU rewatch. This week, Iron Man 3. And guys, I just got to tell you, I was wrong. I said this movie was better than what people gave it credit for. It is indeed worse. Holy cow. I was watching this thing, and like 10 minutes in, I thought, oh, that's weird. This isn't, okay, whatever. It's good. And then 20 minutes in, I thought, oh no, this just keeps going. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what wrong. I don't know who was like on the team of this thing, but they just tried like a very different formula. We are going to breeze through this quickly. But I say that, but like the more I look at my notes, there's so many funny things in here to share. I'm excited to break it open. And before we do that, I want to get a gut check. PC Mike, when's the last time you saw this movie?
I have no earthly idea, but your text the other day when it was like, hey, it wasn't too good. I was like, well, I'm not watching it now. I'll just listen to Logan's awesome breakdown.
How about you, Giggler? You did a rewatch recently?
Yeah, I watched it during then. I tried to rewatch it today. I just got too kind of busy at work, but I probably watched it a month ago.
Well, I watched it fresh being yesterday, and let's just break it down. This is what we do. We set you up, we let you know when the movie takes place. This one came right after The Avengers that took place in 2012. It came out 1 year later on May 3rd, 2013. And the next movie in the lineup, which we will be talking about next week, one that I'm equally a little concerned about rewatching, is Thor: The Dark World. Notoriously known for not being so great. I enjoy the movie, but now that I've had this experience, I almost feel like the MCU got so good with all the later movies that after watching the Infinity War, Endgame, and now seeing WandaVision, which is, I'm so excited to talk about it for the meet today, these lower tier movies are becoming definitely the lowest of the tier. So we'll definitely be talking Thor: The Dark World next week. Iron Man 3, the budget was $200 million, and yeah, it did well. It made a whopping $1.2 billion with a B. I'll give it up. I mean, they made it. Let's just breeze through this storyline and just talk about some of the things I noticed. Don't worry, we can't spend too much time here because there's seriously like an hour and a half in the middle that I just was like skipping 10 seconds at a time. First up, okay, it opens up in 1999 with the song "I'm Blue, Da Ba Dee Da Ba Da." You know, I'm blue, da ba dee da ba da. Great song.
Eiffel 65.
Eiffel 65, such a 90s song. I can just picture myself at the roller rink, you know, that thing just blasting. It's new.
Roller Zone, you mean?
The roller zone in Farmington. Yeah, might as well call it what it is.
Hey, roller rink. I know exactly where you were at.
Tuesday night Christian skate. That's right. We do get an appearance of Jensen, the guy that Tony's actually in the cave with in Iron Man 1. He's in the first like 10 minutes of this movie at this 1999 benefit. And we also meet Aldrich Killian, a nerdy looking guy that Tony's really mean to. He's like, hey, I'll meet you up on the on the top of this building and hear your business idea. Just leaves him hanging. This will come back and haunt him. I'll also say I forgot that this is a Christmas movie that came out in May. There's Christmas songs throughout the whole thing. It's snowing the whole time, and it's right before summer. It came out in the summertime. It is kind of cool. There is some cool stuff that happens with Tony being Iron Man. He actually builds his new suit, but he puts in sensors into his body, and this is like the first time he's going to have like the Iron Man suit coming to his actual body. He's like injecting himself with these little computers or something. We meet the Mandarin, which is like this straight up badass Marvel villain that does not get due justice in this movie, but hopefully will get justice in the new upcoming Marvel series, Shang-Chi, or movie. Is that a movie? Is Shang-Chi a movie or a TV show?
That's a movie.
So that's
I
good.
think it comes out this year.
It does, right? It's later. It's like after the summer, I think. I want to say like November or so. But that's apparently going to be the story of the real Mandarin, the people that captured Tony Stark in the beginning. Hopefully we'll get it done right. It's not done right in this one. We meet Iron.
July 9th.
Sorry, go ahead.
July 9th is the release, Shang-Chi.
Oh, thanks, Andy, for looking that up. That's soon.
Yeah.
That's way sooner than I thought. Well, I'm excited because this Mandarin sucks. and is just annoying. And it's just like, who's the bad guy in this movie? Oh, just a douchebag billionaire that we'll get there. We meet Iron Patriot, which is War Machine, played, James Rhodes. They painted him blue, like red, white, and blue, made him Iron Patriot. Tony has not one, but two, not even two, three panic attacks in this movie. He's like having a lot of stress from the events of Avengers. This will inevitably be just the journey of Tony Stark dealing with Avengers and going up in the wormhole and saving everybody. This is kind of like the after effect of what happens to him. He has one of these panic attacks at like a Chili's. He's eating at Chili's with Rhodey, and he like goes out to the parking lot to leave because he's like having a panic attack, and his Iron Man suit is parked in a parking spot, like open, so he can get into it. Yeah, that happened. Aldrich Killian, he comes back after 20 years later, or 13 years later. He's back. He's handsome. He's trying to pitch Pepper Potts on this like DNA advancing technology that's combined with like botany, and it's like the world's new way to evolve humans. Okay, it's just like another version of the super soldier serum, but with like biology instead. She's like, no thanks. This is really funny. In this movie, like Happy, played by Jon Favreau, his Tony's bodyguard. He's like the hero in this one. He's the guy that's like, hey man, I don't really trust this Aldrich Killian guy. He literally calls Tony Stark on the phone and is like, hey, I think this guy's up to some bad stuff. And Tony's just like distracted and can't deal with it. So Tony's bodyguard ends up being kind of the hero of this movie, and then gets injured and is sidelined for the rest of the film for like no reason. He's in the first hour, and then he's not even in the rest of the movie until the very end. Tony's making a shit ton of suits in this one. So if you remember in Iron Man or in The Avengers, I think he was like on Mark 5 or something. It's like whenever he fights Loki. Well, he's on like Mark 42 now. The suits can like move without him. He has a nightmare at one point, and one of his suits attacks Pepper in the middle of the night. If you remember that. He gets attacked by the Mandarin at his house with all these missiles. This is probably my favorite part of the movie, actually, where I'm like, okay, here we go. Iron Man's going to have to fight these helicopters coming in. 3 helicopters attack Tony Stark's house. He gets finally back into his suit that is like apparently a prototype, so he can't fly. He doesn't have any blasters, and these helicopters are kicking his ass. And I'm like, get in a suit. You're at your house. Like, you're at your house with 40 suits. And he can't take down 3 helicopters. This is the same guy that fought an army of aliens in the last movie we saw. He can't fight 3 helicopters. He gets away. He wakes up. Here we go. This is where the movie really takes off. He wakes up in Tennessee, small town Tennessee, and the battery in his suit dies. So he can't even use his suit anymore. He has to carry his suit. It's just like Tony Stark without his suit, right? He has his second panic attack in the movie. And this is where I called the next part of the movie. There's like 1.5 hours of bullshit. Like just straight up nothing happening. Tony fighting without his suit in downtown Tennessee. He dresses up as a cowboy at one point and solicits the help of like a local news van so that he can like hack into a system. I was like, you're Tony Stark. Like, make a phone call. Like, get your stuff here. You can have all your suits fly to you, like, right now, I bet. Like, what is taking so long? I just spilled my beer.
You're getting heated. You're getting so heated.
I'm getting so heated. Just spilled my beer right here. It's all right.
Do we need to take a break right now?
No, we're going to keep it going. I'm in the middle of it, and we're almost done, which is funny. Okay, so this part is kind of cool. This is where he goes up to Air Force One, and he has to save the president, and the airplane blows up. All these people fall out, and he has to save like 9 people, right? You remember that part? He like catches them all, and he flies them down to the water. What they don't really focus on is that the plane that he left behind exploded in the air behind him. I think like 20 people died. Tony fights with all of his suits at the end. Pepper survives a big old fall. He blows up all of his suits. The kid in Tennessee that he befriended gets an upgrade. Don't forget that the main bad guy, Killian, that could like turn into fire, he breathes fire like a dragon. A man breathing fire. PC Mike, go ahead.
Makes sense to me. Hey, that's a $1.2 billion idea, man. I don't know why you don't like this.
Isn't that hilarious? You're like, well, they made $1.2 billion. Yeah, but when you see it, you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, but have you ever seen Guy Pearce in Memento? He's worth $1.2 billion.
Oh my gosh. Good call. Good reference.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, it's.
Are we going to talk
Unreal.
about it on Mostly Superheroes?
I think we need to. I think we need to deep dive and like really get into the timelines.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, it's
You've
great.
never seen Memento?
No. I'm putting it on my list right now, though, with Survivor Series 1996, though.
It's a Christopher Nolan film. It's one of his first. It is awesome.
It was one of the first movies I saw in a cinema class I took in college, and I was like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my whole life. I still feel that way. I haven't seen it in a long time, though, so I hope it holds up.
I don't even know what streaming. I'll try to look up what streaming service it's on, and I'll let you know, Andy. But whew, he's awesome in that, so I get why they casted him in this.
Yeah, he's the bad guy in this. And listener, there you go. We're going to watch Memento. Wrapping up Iron Man 3. Like I said, the kid in Tennessee, I think his name was Harley. He ends up like getting an upgrade. Tony helps him out for him helping him out. This kid also shows up at the spoiler alert for Avengers Endgame. Huge spoiler right now. If you don't want to know what happens in that movie, I've given you plenty of time by ranting right now. Tony Stark does die. And at his funeral, this kid shows up. So that's a connection for some reason. And then at the end, he throws like his arc reactor into the ocean. And we do end the movie with a "I am Iron Man" quote. I didn't realize he said it in this movie, but he does. And then the end credit scene, because if you remember in this movie, he's narrating it from the beginning. He's talking to Bruce Banner at the end. And I got to tell you, it was dumb. Like, I was like, this is dumb. So I'm not going to go too much further. I want to hear what you guys think of this movie, get your thoughts and rating. I'm going to do it real quick. It's Iron Man 3. It pains me to say it. You know, it's still an Iron Man movie. It's still in the MCU. I could see us exploring this deeper one day, like where we just break down all the intricate little things that happen. Just want to keep it high level today. My rating for this movie, it really hurts my heart, but it's a 2.7. Like, I'm a guy that's always really preached up the MCU, and I've always like told people why they're so good. Okay, those people that ever told me this movie was bad, I'm with you. Giggler, you were the one that saw this most recently. Lay it on us. Give us your thoughts, and please give us a rating for the Iron Man 3 film.
You got it. I just took a couple notes on the theory of, or the topic of it being a Christmas movie. Like, I have a theory that now, after watching a few of these lately, that it really should only include Christmas time if it's completely necessary to the plot. It was not necessary to this movie. I don't think they could have done it otherwise, especially when it's released. Like, when it's a big picture of like 23 movies plus, like, there's no reason to have this related to Christmas. So pass on that. But I think the rewatchability takes a hit for this because of the Mandarin reveal, probably. Like, the first time was a big deal, but from then it's just like, yeah, like, whatever. Okay, I get it. They got me. As well as,
well, they got you because it was a dumb reveal. It was like the Mandarin's this paid actor, right? And he's hired, but he's actually working for Aldrich Killian, and you're like, oh, okay.
Was it Ben Kingsley, the fake one?
Yes, that's it.
What's his name?
Exactly.
Ben Kingsley. He won Best Actor for Gandhi back in the day.
Well, and that's the thing. He himself is good in the movie. Like, he's actually like a joy to watch. I was like, this guy's fun. But like it was the wrong fit. This isn't what I wanted in this movie. Keep on going, Giggler.
Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely wasn't what it didn't. It missed the mark a little bit, but it was still like at least a surprise reveal that the things that you kind of want in movies like this. But yeah, the end credit scene was very forgettable. I completely forgot what it was until when I was rewatching it earlier today. I skipped to the end just to see what the credit scene was, and I was like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, you would have thought this would have at least been an end credit scene that teased out the next movie or something. No, it was like you waited the whole time, and then you were like, oh my gosh, I'm double let down.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what you want to see in those credit scenes for real. But overall, I mean, just the scene where his house is attacked from the helicopter, and he uses his new armor that he can like control with his mind to put it on Pepper instead of himself. Thought that was pretty cool. Shows how selfless he is, even though he had been called out by Captain America and the prior movie for not being the guy that would lay down on the line or whatever for the team. And obviously he's done that numerous times in the next whatever 10 movies from here on out. So, but yeah, I love Iron Man. This definitely is my least favorite of the three, but I'm gonna go with a 3.0 exactly because I'll still watch this shit every time it's on TV.
Well, that's something, you know, if it's a if it's a Sunday and it like came on, like I'd lay on the couch, but like for me to go into Disney Plus, pick the title and hit play, you're going to be like it's going to be a stretch. Nice review. I'm glad you hit that. That was probably one of the coolest parts as well. Like Pepper going into that suit. PC Mike, you want to give it a rating, even though you haven't seen it in years?
I'm actually going to abstain from this because I don't feel like I can give it justice.
Wow, that's really big of you.
It's been so long. Andy's review kind of gave me some hope, but then I remember yours and it was just gloom. So I don't really want to. I'm gonna step away from this one. But Robert Downey Jr. is a great superhero. That's where I'm gonna stand on.
Of course. No, that's not in question. And Robert Downey Jr. is still a joy to watch in the movie. It kind of pained me to see the situations they were putting him in. That being said, I know what they're going for. They were trying to give him the human component, right? Take away the suit all the way. What happens? But also, it was too much because he was also he was depressed and having severe anxiety from what happened in Avengers. So like you're trying to mix like two major types of arcs, and it just felt like a mess to me. So I appreciate you abstaining. I would say to any new MCU fan out there, do you watch this? Do you keep it in your order? Absolutely. You watch this, go into it with the same mentality that PC Mike just said about the Snyder Cut. Keep your expectations in check. You saw Iron Man, you saw Iron Man 2. Go ahead and expect Iron Man 3 not to be as good, and you'll leave it feeling just fine, and you'll be primed and ready for your next MCU title, which we will cover next week. Thor: The Dark World, moving our way through Phase 2. Next up will be Captain America, the First Avenger. Fellas, any last thoughts on Iron Man 3 before we leave this one in the dust?
I will give a bonus review for Andy, though, since he has not seen Memento. 3.8.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
All right, I'm sold.
It's
All
a
right.
big boy.
All right.
It's on Tubi.
Should I watch that before or after Survivor Series?
Wow. Can you watch both at the same time and have the timelines merge?
Sure.
It's on Tubi. I don't know what Tubi is. Is Tubi free? Like a streaming app, Tubi?
Is that like the Roku thing, or is that just like an app? I'm not really familiar with
It had
Tubi.
it had it on Roku too, but it says Tubi.
I saw a commercial for Tubi actually, like on NBC the other day, but I also know they have Peacock, so I doubt it's that. But
So it says watch free movies and TV shows on Tubi.
I will give it a shot and report back to you
hey,
guys.
if not, you know what? You pay to rent that. It's probably $5 on Apple or something. That's one that we're watching it. Listener, viewer, Memento. If you're a Memento fan, please write into the show and tell us why you love the movie or why you hate it, because we're going to be talking about it, and we'd love to feature some fan mail during it. Getting back on the MCU real quick we are going to take a quick break because we have a lot to explore in Phase 4, talking about WandaVision Episode 6. Next up in the MCU rewatch, we are using that hashtag, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Before that will be Thor: The Dark World is next week. The reason I said Captain America first is because Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming out in March, so we will finish the Captain America films before we get there.